1. Let's talk about this 1969 Ford Thunderbird I found on Facebook Marketplace for $10,000. This classic beauty comes in blue inside and out, and what really catches my attention is that 429 cubic inch, 7.0L, big block engine under the hood. That's some serious muscle. The seller reports it has 96,040 miles on the clock, which honestly isn't bad for a car that's over 50 years old. What's particularly impressive here is that the AC is working, which is rare for cars this age. And the seller mentions there's no rust, a huge plus for a classic from the 60s. They've also invested in a lot of new parts, which suggests some proper maintenance has been done. The automatic transmission and clean title are definitely positive points too. At $10,000, considering current classic car market values, this could be a decent deal if everything checks out as described. The Thunderbird was Ford's luxury model, and the 69 is known for its distinctive styling and comfortable ride. With the big block engine, working AC, and rust-free body, this seems like a solid find that you could either enjoy as is or potentially invest in for the future. Just remember, as with any classic car purchase, you'll want to inspect it in person and maybe get a mechanic's opinion before making a decision. The seller's open to trades too, which gives you some negotiating flexibility. Overall, if the condition matches the description, this T-Bird could be a pretty sweet deal for someone looking to get into classic car ownership. 2. Let's check out this 1979 Chevrolet Corvette I found on Facebook Marketplace in Las Vegas. For $10,000, this C3 Corvette definitely deserves our attention, especially with its striking black exterior and unique red-black interior combo. Here's what makes this one interesting. It's got a freshly rebuilt 350 V8 engine with only 100 miles on it, which is a major plus. The odometer shows 26,000 miles, though with classics, always take mileage readings with a grain of salt. The seller has clearly invested in some important upgrades: new shocks, a double-row radiator, and a new AC compressor, which shows they've been maintaining critical systems. Let's be completely honest here. There is one immediate issue to address. It needs a carburetor. This means you'll need to factor in that additional cost and installation before the car is properly road-ready. However, this could be an opportunity to install the carburetor of your choice and dial in the performance exactly how you want it. For $10,000, considering the fresh engine rebuild, new components, and overall condition described as very good, this could be a solid deal in today's market. Late C3 Corvettes are increasingly appreciated, and this one with its black-on-black and red color scheme has a menacing look that many enthusiasts love. Remember, as with any classic car purchase, you'll want to inspect it in person, verify the rebuild documentation, and perhaps get a mechanic's opinion. But if everything checks out as described, this could be a great entry point into classic Corvette ownership, especially once you sort out that carburetor situation. 3. Let's talk about this 1979 Plymouth Volare I found on Facebook Marketplace for $4,000. Now, I'll be straight with you. The Volare isn't typically the first car that comes to mind when people think of classic cars, but this one has some interesting aspects worth discussing. First off, this is a remarkably low-mileage example with just 46,800 miles and only 2 previous owners, which is pretty rare for a 44-year-old car. It's wearing its original brown paint, very 70s, and matches with a brown interior, a color combo that's period-correct and honestly kind of charming in a nostalgic way. The seller's description is pretty brief, but they state that it starts and runs, and claim the engine and transmission are very good. The interior is described as clean, and being all original is actually a plus for collectors who value authenticity. The clean title and lack of significant damage are also positive points. At $4,000, you're looking at an affordable piece of American automotive history. The Volare was Plymouth's everyday family car in the late 70s, and finding one in original condition with low mileage is becoming increasingly uncommon. However, I should mention that these cars were known for some reliability issues when new, so you'd want to check for any typical Volare problems. This could be a unique choice for someone who appreciates uncommon classics or wants an affordable entry into classic car ownership. Just remember to inspect it thoroughly in person, as the seller's description is quite minimal. While it might not be a high-performance muscle car, it's a genuine survivor from an interesting era in American car design. 4. Let's talk about this 1984 Cadillac DeVille that's popped up on Facebook Marketplace for $3,500. I'm going to be completely honest with you about this one because there's quite a bit to unpack here. First, let's address the elephant in the room. This Caddy sat for over 20 years before the current owner got it. That's a long nap for any car, and it usually means there could be various age-related issues lurking. The seller has already done some of the basic revival work: new battery, fuel pump, and front tires, and they've managed to get it running and driving, which is a good start. The car shows 92,834 miles and has only had 2 owners, which isn't bad for a nearly 40-year-old luxury car. It's rocking a red-on-red color combo, which is pretty bold and very 80s. The body is straight with no dents, which is positive, but the seller admits the hood's paint needs attention, typical for these older Caddies where the clear coat often fails. Here's what's working in its favor. All power windows are functioning, which is impressive for its age, and the mirror motors work too. However, the seller mentions there are some diagnostic codes present. Though they claim they're not major, you definitely want to check what those are before buying. For $3,500, you're looking at a project that's already been partially awakened from its long slumber. The seller is honest about it needing a bit of TLC, and that's probably an understatement. These old Cadillacs can be money pits if you're not careful, but they're also incredibly comfortable cruisers when properly sorted. If you're mechanically inclined and looking for a classic American luxury car project that you can gradually improve while still being able to drive it, this could be interesting. Just remember, any car that's sat for 20+ years will likely need more attention than what's immediately visible, so budget accordingly if you're serious about it. 5. Let's check out this 1974 Dodge Dart that's listed on Facebook Marketplace for $5,500. The Dart was Dodge's reliable compact car of the era, and this particular example has some interesting features worth discussing. With 84,000 miles on the clock and just 2 owners in its 49-year life, this Dart has clearly been preserved rather well. It's wearing a very period-correct brown exterior with a beige interior, a color combination that screams 1970s in the best possible way. The clean title and claim of no significant damage or problems are definitely positive points. These Darts were known for their durability and straightforward mechanics. They typically came with either a slant-6 engine or a V8, and with the automatic transmission, they make for comfortable, easy-to-drive classics. The '74 model year was also interesting as it featured the larger, federally mandated 5-muffler bumpers, which actually help protect these cars from minor impacts. At $5,500, this price point seems reasonable in today's classic car market, especially for a clean example with relatively low mileage. These Darts are becoming increasingly popular as affordable classics because they're simple to maintain, parts are still readily available, and they offer that authentic 70s driving experience without breaking the bank. However, like any car approaching 50 years old, you'll want to do a thorough inspection before buying. Check for the usual suspects: rust in the typical spots, floor pans, trunk, wheel wells, transmission condition, and make sure all the electrical systems are functioning properly. If everything checks out as described, this could be a solid entry point into classic car ownership. These Darts are known for being reliable, practical classics that you can actually use regularly, not just show off at car meets. 6. Let's check out this 1979 Lincoln Continental Mark V, listed for $6,500. This big luxury cruiser shows only 28,645 miles and comes in a classic black exterior with silver interior combo. The seller keeps it super simple, just saying it has a clean title and runs good. While that's nice to hear, I definitely want to know more. These Mark Vs were absolute luxury boats in their day, packed with features and powered by a big V8 engine that loves to drink gas but provides a super smooth ride. For $6,500, you're looking at a lot of classic American luxury car. The low mileage is definitely interesting if it's genuine, These cars are starting to get more attention from collectors, and they're known for their incredible comfort and presence on the road. Just keep in mind that parts can be expensive, and you'll want to check all the power features, potential rust spots, and the overall condition since the seller's description is so brief. But if everything checks out, this could be a pretty sweet deal for someone looking to cruise in classic 70s luxury style. Remember, these aren't fuel-efficient daily drivers, but they're fantastic highway cruisers that'll definitely turn heads at car shows, worth checking out if you're into classic luxury cars. 7. Let me tell you about this 1975 Oldsmobile Delta 88 that's currently listed for $9,500 on Facebook Marketplace. I'll be straight with you about what we're looking at here. This classic Delta 88 has 91,500 miles on the clock, and while it's being advertised in good condition, there are some important things to consider. The seller has recently invested $3,400 in repairs, including a new radiator and pump, which is definitely a positive point. However, let's be honest about the issues. There's a surface scratch on the right side, rust damage creating a hole in the undercarriage behind the front passenger seat, and the convertible top isn't working. The seller also mentions it probably needs a new engine, which is a major concern. The car is drivable in its current state, sporting a black exterior with an off-white interior, and it comes with a clean title and no accident history. While it's running and can be used recreationally, it's important to understand that this isn't a fully restored vehicle. It's more of a project car with potential. For $9,500, you're getting a classic that needs some serious attention, particularly with the engine and convertible top issues. The price seems a bit steep considering the needed repairs, especially the engine replacement. While these Delta 88s are beautiful classics with great potential, any buyer should factor in significant additional investment to bring it to perfection, as the seller suggests. Being completely honest, this might be a better buy at a lower price point, given the scope of work needed. However, if you're specifically looking for a Delta 88 project car and are prepared for the restoration work ahead, it could be worth negotiating. 8. Let me tell you about this 1976 Chevrolet Corvette that's listed for $10,000 on Facebook Marketplace. I'll give you my honest take on this classic. This C3 Corvette comes with surprisingly low mileage at just 35,000 miles, which is pretty rare for a car of this age. It's rocking a red exterior with a white interior combination, a classic Corvette color scheme. The automatic transmission might not be everyone's first choice for a sports car, but it makes for easier cruising. Now, let's be real about its condition. While the seller says it runs and is in good condition, they're upfront about some issues. The interior has what they call eyesores due to age, which is pretty common for 70s vehicles. These old Corvettes often need interior work. There's also a missing side view mirror, which you'll need to source and replace. Having just 2 previous owners and a clean title is definitely a plus, and the seller states there's no significant damage or problems, which is encouraging. However, with any 47-year-old car, you'll want to do a thorough inspection before buying. For $10,000, you're looking at what appears to be a running, driving C3 Corvette that needs some cosmetic attention. This price point is actually quite reasonable for a C3 in today's market, especially with such low mileage. Just remember that you'll need to budget for interior restoration and that missing mirror at minimum. If you're looking for a project Corvette that you can drive while you fix it up, this could be a solid candidate. Just make sure to check for any hidden rust or mechanical issues that might not be mentioned in the brief description. 9. Let me tell you about this 1983 Ford Mustang GT that's listed for $5,500 on Facebook Marketplace. I'll give you the straight scoop on this Fox body Mustang. What we've got here is an interesting build with only 22,000 miles showing. The most notable feature is that it's not running its original engine. It's been upgraded with a 351 Windsor V8, which is a significant power upgrade from the stock engine. The sellers added some serious performance parts: long tube headers, Flowmaster mufflers, and 4.10 gears. Plus, they've beefed up the suspension with adjustable upper control arms and subframe connectors. It's also got a world-class T5 manual transmission, which is a solid choice for handling the extra power. Now, let's be honest about the cosmetics. While the body is straight according to the seller, there are some condition issues you should know about. There's rust developing on the hatchback, and the clear coat is failing, both common issues with Fox body Mustangs. The black-on-black color scheme is classic, but you'll need to factor in some paintwork if you want it looking pristine. For $5,500, you're getting what appears to be a modified Fox body with some decent performance upgrades, but needs cosmetic attention. The price seems reasonable considering the modifications and low mileage, even with the cosmetic issues. However, as with any modified car, you'll want to thoroughly check the quality of the installations and overall mechanical condition. This could be a solid project car for someone who wants a Fox body with some muscle already built in. Just be prepared to address the paint and rust issues. The seller's openness to trades also suggests there might be some room for negotiation on the price. 10. Let me tell you about this 1969 Chevrolet Impala that's listed for $3,000 on Facebook Marketplace. And I'll be completely straight with you about what we're looking at here. Let's be real. This is a project car, and the seller is refreshingly honest about its condition. The car technically runs, but you can't drive it home because it needs brake work. Specifically, the rear passenger brake line needs replacing, and the whole system needs bleeding. You'll also need to bring your own battery since the current one doesn't come with the car. The seller has done some work on it, including flushing and cleaning the fuel tank, installing a new fuel sending unit, and putting in new rear brakes and wheel cylinders. That's helpful, but there's still work to be done. The blue exterior with black interior combination is classic, but the seller is upfront that the paint isn't perfect. In fact, they emphasize it's far from perfect, which is why the price is set at $3,000. For $3,000 firm, you're getting a piece of American classic car history that needs some TLC. The '69 Impala is a desirable model, and while this one needs work, the price reflects its condition. It could be a good starting point for someone who wants to restore a classic Impala and isn't afraid of some initial mechanical work. Just remember, you'll need a trailer to get it home, a battery to get it started, and you'll have to tackle those brake issues before it's roadworthy. But if you're looking for a project car with potential and you understand what you're getting into, this could be a reasonable entry point into classic car ownership. 11. Let me tell you about this 1985 Ford Thunderbird that's currently listed for $9,000 on Facebook Marketplace. I'll give you my honest thoughts on this one. This T-Bird shows 95,800 miles on the clock and comes in a matching gray exterior and interior color scheme. Having only 2 previous owners is generally a good sign for a car of this age. The seller claims it's very nice and clean and runs and drives great, with the only reason for selling being their relocation to Houston and desire for something more fuel efficient. However, I've got to be straight with you. $9,000 seems quite steep for a 1985 Thunderbird, even if it's in good condition. These mid-80s T-Birds typically sell for considerably less, usually in the $3,000–$5,000 range when in excellent condition. While the seller's description is positive, it's notably brief and doesn't provide much detail about the car's maintenance history or any recent work done. The '85 Thunderbird was part of the 9th generation, and while they're comfortable cruisers, they're not particularly sought after by collectors, which makes the asking price even more questionable. These cars came with either a 3.8L V6 or a 5.0L V8, but the seller doesn't specify which engine this one has. If you're interested in this Thunderbird, I'd strongly suggest negotiating the price down significantly, getting a thorough inspection, and asking for detailed maintenance records. While it might be a clean example of an '85 T-Bird, the current asking price is well above what these cars typically command in today's market. 12. Let me tell you about this 1967 Ford Galaxy that's listed for $12,000 on Facebook Marketplace. I'll give you my honest take on this classic. This Galaxy comes with a pretty striking burgundy exterior and black interior combination, and the seller reports just 10,000 miles. Though with a car this age, we should probably assume this is after the odometer has rolled over. The car has a clean title and has been kept in indoor storage, which is definitely a plus for preservation. Here's what's good. According to the seller, All the drivetrain has been restored, which is a significant investment and benefit for any potential buyer. These Galaxies typically came with either a V8 engine, ranging from 289 to 428 cubic inches, though the seller doesn't specify which power plant this one has. Now let's be upfront about the issues. The car needs a new convertible top. While the mechanism works, which is actually good news, the canvas is completely gone. This isn't a small fix. A new convertible top installation can cost anywhere from $1,503,000 or more when done professionally. For $12,000, you're looking at a classic Galaxy that's been stored properly and has had significant mechanical work done, but needs immediate attention to the convertible top. The price seems reasonable if the drivetrain restoration was done properly and the rest of the car is as clean as suggested, but you'll need to factor in the cost of that new top. Being located in Rector, Arkansas, it might be worth a look if you're in the area. Just make sure to thoroughly inspect the undercarriage and all the usual rust-prone areas, despite its indoor storage history. These Galaxies are beautiful pieces of American automotive history when properly restored, and this one sounds like it could be a good candidate with just a bit more work. 13. Let me tell you about this 1965 Ford Thunderbird that's listed for $6,000 on Facebook Marketplace. I'll give you the straight scoop on this classic. This fourth-generation T-Bird comes equipped with the 390 cubic inch V8 with a 4-barrel carburetor, which is a solid power plant for these cars. The sellers got it painted in blue, though they haven't specified the interior color, which is a bit of an oversight in the listing. Let's be honest about what we're looking at here. The seller's description is pretty bare bones, but they're at least upfront about what the car needs. While they say it runs good and drives good, they immediately note that it needs tires, brakes, and TLC, tender loving care. That last part is particularly important because it suggests there are probably other issues they haven't specifically listed. For $6,000, you're looking at a running and driving classic Thunderbird that needs immediate safety-related work. Tires and brakes aren't optional upgrades. They're necessary for safe operation. The 1965 T-Birds are beautiful cars when properly restored, with their distinctive styling and luxury features, but this one clearly needs some investment to get it into good condition. The price point seems reasonable for a running 65 T-Bird, but remember, you'll need to factor in the cost of new tires, a brake job, and whatever other issues might be hiding under that vague TLC description. These cars can be expensive to restore, so make sure to get a thorough inspection before making a decision. If you're looking for a project car with good bones and don't mind putting in some work, this could be worth checking out. Just go in with your eyes open about the additional investment you'll need to make. 14. Let me tell you about this 1974 Plymouth Valiant that's listed for $2,250 on Facebook Marketplace. I'll give you my honest take on this classic Mopar. This brown Valiant has 93,000 miles on the clock and comes with an automatic transmission. These cars were known for their reliability and simplicity, often powered by either Chrysler's bulletproof Slant 6 or a V8 engine, though the seller doesn't specify which one this car has. Let's be upfront about what you're getting here. While the seller says it's ready to be a daily driver, there are some significant issues that need addressing. The car needs front floorboards, which is a clear indication of rust problems. This isn't a small repair and usually requires welding and metalwork. It also needs a new front windshield and carpet. On the positive side, the seller mentions it has front disc brakes, which is a good safety feature, and the interior is reportedly in good condition with no rips. For $2,250, you're looking at a project car that runs and drives, but needs immediate attention to those floorboards and windshield before it could truly be considered a daily driver. These Valiants are known for being incredibly durable cars, and they're generally simple to work on, which makes them good candidates for restoration. The price seems fair given the condition and the current market, but remember, you'll need to factor in the cost of floor pan replacement, windshield installation, and new carpet. If you're handy with welding and can do the work yourself, this could be a decent deal. Located in Pittsburg, Kansas, it might be worth checking out if you're looking for a classic Mopar project that won't break the bank initially. Just be prepared for the work and additional investment needed to make it truly roadworthy. 15. Let's talk about this 1977 Buick Park Avenue I found on Facebook Marketplace. I want to be completely honest with you about this classic. At $3,000, we're looking at a piece of American luxury history that needs some TLC. The good news is that with only 64,000 miles and just 2 previous owners, this black beauty with its red interior has relatively low mileage for its age. The seller is being upfront about the car's condition. The engine and transmission are running strong, A1 as they say, and you can actually drive it home, which is a big plus for a 46-year-old vehicle. The interior has been redone, which is nice, but let's be real about the issues. The convertible top needs to be completely replaced, and there's a side glass missing. The car is currently sitting on factory wheels since the custom rims were sold separately. For anyone interested in classic Buicks, this could be a decent project car. The seller's bottom line is $2,500, and considering you've got a running driving classic with a solid powertrain, it might be worth considering if you're okay with tackling the top and glass issues. Just remember, with any classic car purchase, especially at this price point, you're likely looking at additional investment to get it into pristine condition. 16. Let's take a look at this 1983 Ford Mustang I found on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm going to keep it real with you. Listen, this one's a bit of a situation. The seller is asking $3,200, and while the yellow exterior with white interior combo is pretty sweet and they claim the body is very clean, there's a major issue we need to talk about. The engine is completely seized. I've got to be straight with you. A seized engine is a serious problem, not a minor inconvenience. This Mustang is essentially a roller at this point, meaning you're buying a car that won't move under its own power. You're looking at either a complete engine rebuild or a replacement engine, and both options will cost you significant money on top of the purchase price. While clean Fox body Mustangs are becoming increasingly desirable, $3,200 for one with a seized engine feels pretty steep. If you're a mechanic or someone who's planning a project car and specifically looking for a Fox body with a clean body to swap an engine into, this might be worth considering. But you'll definitely want to negotiate that price. For everyone else, unless you're ready for a serious project and additional investment, you might want to keep looking. Remember, sometimes the cheapest thing about a car is its purchase price. 17. Let's check out this 1973 Chevrolet Corvette that's caught my eye on Facebook Marketplace. At $13,000, we're looking at what could be a pretty solid deal for a classic C3 Corvette. This blue beauty with black interior is a ZQ3 Coupe model, and it's packing its numbers-matching 350 V8 with an automatic transmission. What's really interesting here is that while the odometer shows just 3,800 miles, the seller is honest about not knowing the actual mileage, which is common for cars of this age. The good news keeps coming. This Feta is loaded with factory options including air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, and power windows. The seller states there's no rust in the critical birdcage area or frame, which is huge for these C3 Corvettes, as they're notorious for rust issues in these spots. They've also done some recent maintenance, including a new gas tank, sending unit, and battery. And yes, the T-tops are included, which is always a concern with these cars as they often go missing over the years. For $13,000, considering current C3 Corvette values and the fact that this appears to be a well-equipped, rust-free example with its original drivetrain, this could be a solid investment. The presence of factory AC and all those power options makes it a more desirable example. Just remember to get a thorough inspection before pulling the trigger. These cars can hide issues, and you'll want to verify that numbers-matching claim. This looks like a pretty honest listing from someone who knows what they have but isn't trying to oversell it. If everything checks out in person, this could be a nice entry point into classic Corvette ownership. Order 18. Let's talk about this 1960 Cadillac Series 62 I found on Facebook Marketplace, and I'll give you the straight scoop. At $15,000, we're looking at a piece of American luxury history that's both interesting and honest in its presentation. The seller's being upfront. This is a very restorable car, not a show-ready classic. It's wearing a blue exterior and interior combo, and while it runs and drives, The seller candidly admits they wouldn't trust it beyond loading it onto a trailer. That's the kind of honesty we appreciate. Now, let's talk about the good stuff. The car has surprisingly little rust, which is huge for a 60-year-old Cadillac, and 95% of that beautiful trim is still there. And we all know how expensive and hard to find vintage Cadillac trim can be. They've already done some meaningful upgrades, including Wildwood front disc brakes, a new master cylinder and vacuum booster, fresh power window motors, and new 6-way seat motors. There's also a new aluminum radiator specifically made for Cadillacs. Here's where it gets really interesting. The seller has a complete LS swap setup available with the car, a rebuilt 6.0L LS engine with performance upgrades, BTR cam, new headers, etc., and a 4L80 transmission. This could be perfect for someone wanting to build a reliable cruiser while keeping the original drivetrain for posterity. For $15,000, you're getting a solid foundation for either a traditional restoration or a resto mod project. The car needs work, no doubt about it. But with most of the expensive parts already there and that LS swap option, this could be a really cool project for the right person. Just remember, these big Cadillacs are massive undertakings, so make sure you have the space, resources, and patience before jumping in. 19. Let's check out this 1965 Buick Electra that's popped up on Facebook Marketplace for $6,500. I've got to say, for a 58-year-old car, this burgundy beauty seems to be quite a find. The seller's enthusiasm about its condition appears justified. They mention it's been kept undercover for most of its life, which is exactly what you want to hear about a classic car. With 120,000 miles on the clock, it's actually got relatively reasonable mileage for its age, averaging about 2,000 miles per year. The seller states it runs and drives great, which is crucial because these old Buick Electras were known for their smooth, comfortable ride when they were working properly. The Electra was Buick's top-of-the-line model in 1965, essentially their luxury yacht on wheels, and they were built to impress. At $6,500, considering current classic car prices, this could be a solid deal if everything checks out. The fact that it's been locally owned in the Stanwood Camano area and kept covered suggests it might have escaped the worst of potential weather-related deterioration. The seller seems motivated to sell quickly, which might give some room for negotiation. Just remember, even a well-preserved classic car from 1965 will need regular maintenance and likely has some age-related issues to address. But if you're looking for a classic American luxury car with presence, this Electra could be worth checking out. Make sure to get a thorough inspection and maybe bring along someone who knows these old Buicks before making a decision. 20. The 1979 Chevrolet El Camino, priced at $15,000, is a beautifully restored classic that has been lovingly cared for by the seller's grandfather. With 100,000 miles on the body, this El Camino has been given a new lease on life thanks to the meticulous restoration work done over the course of a few years. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 350 motor paired with a 5-speed manual transmission, providing an engaging driving experience. The exterior is finished in a stunning blue paint that looks fresh and vibrant, while the interior features luxurious black leather seats from a Chevrolet Malibu, offering both comfort and style. One of the standout features of this El Camino is the sunroof, which has the iconic Chevrolet bow tie etched into the glass, a true testament to the attention to detail put into this restoration. The car also boasts new wheels and tires, ensuring that it looks great and handles well on the road. The dual exhaust system adds a throaty and powerful sound to the already impressive driving experience, making this El Camino a true joy to drive. It's clear that the seller's grandfather, now 90 years old, has put his heart and soul into this restoration, and he wants to find someone who will appreciate and enjoy the car as much as he has. With a clean title and no significant damage or problems reported, this 1979 Chevrolet El Camino is a rare find in today's market. It's an excellent opportunity for any classic car enthusiast looking for a well-restored, reliable, and stylish vehicle with a unique history. If you're interested in learning more about this El Camino, Feel free to reach out to the seller or his grandson for additional information.